There would though.
I'm thinking Shawn is maybe like a lightning bolt Zori kind of guy himself.
They still make
That
those,
sounds like Dr. Payne to be hit by that stuff.
right?
Yeah.
Shawn, let's just kind of go into and talk a little bit about this whole Chamorro Land Trust Commission thing that happened. I'm not even really sure what happened. We played the clip from the board, so what did happen in that clip was they, commission member Angela Santos had asked the administrator, Jack Hattig, hey, you remember back in June of 2019 when the former chair, Pika Farron, gave you a to-do list, a priorities list? How much of that did you get done? And Jack Hattig was basically like, oh, man, that list, that's in my other shorts. Sorry, I don't know. Can't tell you. I don't have the list in front of me. And then the chair, Juan Regis, had basically said that, oh, yeah, we don't think you're not suited for this job. But it was strange because they said he's not suited for the job, but he's going to remain on the job that he's not suited for until they can go and meet with the governor. Juan Regis Jr. told me this morning on WhatsApp that the board members had requested the meeting with the governor to discuss the decision that had been made. But I did want to say that, and we've discussed this on this show many times going back to last year, is that there had been an effort to remove Jack Hattig during former Chair Pika Farron's term. But what I had heard from just a bunch of different people very familiar with the issue was that they had the votes, but as a courtesy, they had gone to the governor, and the governor shut it down. And she was very supportive of Jack Hattig in comments she made a couple weeks ago. And this all surfaces around, there was a land agent who had testified before the board and said, hey, Jack coerced me. I felt like he was trying to make me do something that's against the rules and regs, which was the swap. I think it was places in the line or a lease. You can't do swaps, basically. And so this land agent had testified before the board. And that kind of is what was referenced. Well, in this meeting yesterday, they said, hey, also an executive session, February 18th, there's a bunch of stuff that we had discussed, and you're just not suited for the job. But Shawn, I mean, does a board like the Chamorro Land Trust Commission, in your opinion, have the authority to just straight up fire Jack Hattig?
Well, you got to remember, Chris, that both the board and Jack are all appointed by the governor of Guam. And so and they're all tasked with doing the work of not only the CLTC, but also in running the entire department. Now, it seems reasonable that when a board member asks an appointee, were you able to take care of these issues? And the answer, as you mentioned, the answer might have been in his shorts pocket that's at home. But the idea would be is if you can't answer, there should be concern. Now, the governor, I watched that interview with the governor. She has committed her support of him. But at the end of the day, when there's, this is all politics at the end of the day, right? So if when the board's asking, when we think about this whole idea of a game of addition, who is going to win the day or rule the day? Will it be Jack or the board? And that's going to come down to the governor and how she feels. What is this issue enough to make a move? I mean, I saw it over 8 years with Governor Camacho that, when there's a battle of board and appointee, depends. It really does depend on the action of the director and the actions of the board and which will go first, the board or Jack Hattig in this case.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting because I think the governor, and I know you remember her comments as well, what she had said was that, I mean, I'm paraphrasing here, is my boy Jack Hattig didn't intentionally break the rules.
Right.
But to me, that's an acknowledgement that some rules were broken.
Right. And remember, the Attorney General's office is part of the entire, call it the dynamic of this whole thing. So if the Attorney General's office is telling either, the chair, this is good or bad, it would stand to reason that there is some kind of legal advice saying this is okay or not okay. But publicly, when it's played out, it does not make, well, one, it doesn't make the CLTC look that good,
Yeah.
but also reflects negatively on the governor of Guam, who made these appointments, and these types of actions, words, activities are being said in a public arena that really, only spells either one, there's a problem, or just absolute, it's a problem. That's nothing. There's nothing more than that.
I'm surprised the governor didn't, and not involve herself more, but this has been going on for it's been like a couple months. I'm really
right.
surprised.
I mean, but Chris, when you think about what's happening now, you have a pandemic going on.
Yeah.
Whether or not the land issues are the most important things happening for her today, but when they bubble up as they have, it would be kind of crazy to ignore what just happened publicly. And obviously, again, it goes back to the board members, and if they'll probably get a chance to speak to her about it if they do, and then a decision can be made.
It's just tough for me because we just, we just saved the land trust, right, from extinction. And,
right.
Heading into that, there was just a lot of scandal with this whole Barragata Heights thing. There's scandal with people who were allowed to swap places in line. There were scandals with living people transferring their land to other living people, which is, again, a no-no. And so it just seems like this is not even the cherry on top. This is the cherry on top of like 1,000 other cherries.
Yeah, Chris, before I left the Camacho administration, one of the last things I was as deputy chief of staff, I actually chaired a CLTC, it was basically a task force to start to look at the development of these lands in the northern part of the island and getting all the agencies together. When the CLTC focuses on those important parts of their mandate, then these types of things they don't come up. As you can tell, it sounds like that is beyond the mandate. And then when the land agent came forward and said there's a little bit of an issue with it, the Attorney General should have spoken up, the Attorney General's office. If not, then I hope Levin's listening, but then you need to remove that Attorney General, because there's no way that if there's a problem that would allow it to continue to go on. Yeah. So it's not just the governor here relative to Jack, but it's also the Attorney General has an assigned Attorney General to that department, and should be advising on the legal matters that are important to advance the CLTC and to benefit the people, not so much one person or one group of people inside the organization.
Right. I mean, to be fair, though, the chairman in that clip that we played, he said that the actions they had made were with the support of the legal counsel. We did have the AG on, Shawn, and we did ask him about this, and his response basically was like, yeah, that's my assistant AG down there. They know what they're doing. And he had even not defended, but he had said that there was legal grounds that allowed them to discuss these issues in executive session. So he basically stood by his guy too.
Yeah, but when it comes down to, you can talk about it, but what is the action that the people of Guam are expecting from both Jack Hattig and the board, especially those who are CLTC recipients? I think at times where they're always thinking about, well, what's it for me? But they're there to serve the people of Guam and nobody else.
So do you think that we're going to see a resignation from Jack Hattig?
I mean, that would, based on what I heard in that interview just yesterday, if I was a betting man, and I'm not really good at that, but I think with everything that's happening, it might make sense to resign.
Right. I think it's either going to go that way or the governor's going to flex a little bit, and we'll see. But Shawn, I mean, moving forward, is the working relationship when a board comes out and says, hey, you're not suited for this job, is the working relationship between the board and the administrator, who is now going to remain on the job that he's not suited for, is it beyond repair?
You know, it's very hard to get people to volunteer to serve on boards already. With the sheer amount of boards and commissions, to go down to the legislature and take a lot of scrutiny about being on these organizations. So it's either he walks away and finds another, maybe this is politics, right? Any other lift somewhere else in the administration, right. Or the board goes, and with the board, when they go, you have a vacancy, and then also politically, they just, you lose confidence in your, who appointed you. That's not a good thing for the administration today.
Right on. Hey, it's 7:09. We're going to take a quick break, come back with more. Shawn, I wanted to catch up with you on your podcast that you got. That's it. That's all. So that's what's coming up here next on The Link. Good morning.
GU Self-Storage.
Get the job done the right way by getting the right stuff at East West Rental Center. With years of experience helping builders, we definitely got what you need. Call 646-1463 or visit us in Upper Tumon. Open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Only one company on Guam provides every solar energy solution under one roof. Micronesia Renewable Energy. You want solar only? They got that. You want solar with batteries? They got that too. You want outright purchase or lease purchase? It's up to you. Does your solar system need a tune-up? That's what they do. For solar energy solutions from A to Z, you can count on MRE. Give them a call at 632-2613 for a free consultation. MRE, providing real solar solutions built by real solar experts.
Uno Go, delivering meals from your favorite restaurants and more, including delivering sodas and adult beverages from the Bottle Shack. Visit uno-go.com or download the app today. Also follow them on Instagram and Facebook.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
Catch SportsLink on the KUAM News Morning Show, The Link, every Friday to hear about the latest in sports news, game schedules, athlete profiles, and more. SportsLink, brought to you each week by Cure Alkaline Water, airs every Friday across the multimedia platforms of KUAM. Tune into the broadcast on Breeze 93.9 FM, on KUAM TV 11, live streaming through the KUAM News Facebook page, or view highlights on YouTube, KUAM News Facebook, and Instagram. SportsLink is hosted by Dave Delgado through KUAM Sports, and he will make sure that everyone knows what is happening on the field, in the gyms, and everywhere in between.
KUAM's multi-platform morning show, The Link, just got a little more delicious with Feed Me Fridays. Chris, Sabrina, Jason, and the rest of the morning crew will take some time each Friday to talk food, taste food, and bring you all the latest and greatest in food from King's Restaurants and Ruby Tuesday Guam, old faves, new hits, and everything on the menu in between. It's Feed Me Fridays on The Link.
The relationship between Guam and Manila, Philippines is undeniable as we share similar cultural traditions, history, and heritage, with generations of Filipinos calling Guam home. KUAM presents a monthly look at the capital city featuring in-depth and engaging interviews on everything from medical tourism to new business and government leaders. Veteran newscaster Nestor Lecanto delivers Beyond Our Borders. This special program is brought to you by the Bank of Guam and KFC.
When we throw things away, where is away? What happens to our waste, and where does it go? As a community of small islands, the waste crisis is a large issue we want to bring into focus. Micronesia Climate Change Alliance presents From Our Nanas for Our Nennies, a video series about taking a holistic view of our present, finding wisdom from our past, and inspiring a better future. Airing every week during Earth Month, brought to you by Humanities Guahan and the National Endowment for the Humanities.
So, Jay, you've got the latest guidance, right?
Yes, sir. Fresh. Adeloop has released two guidance. One is 11 pages long, and now here's a memo. So this is the truncated, summarized, executive summary version, I guess, as it were. Public Health and Social Services, reading from the guidance memo now. We'll put it up so you guys can read that as well. This is Guidance Memo 2021-13. And this covers authorized businesses and services during P-Core 3, of course, which we are in right now. We continue to be. Effective at 8 a.m. today, so in about 46 minutes from now, indoor dining and eating and drinking establishments are allowed to be 75% of their occupancy load with no more than 8 persons per table per party. And each party has to be at least 6 feet away from the other party. That's nothing new, Chris, because we knew that before. And even Adelup was saying, can we make sure to differentiate that bars and taverns still 50%, but restaurants and places, eateries are 75%. Movie theaters, along with theater food concession operations, may also operate at 75% of their occupancy load. We'll bring in Shawn for his perspective on this. Organized sports, non-contact, and contact training and competition is authorized, but not limited to. The total number of people shall be limited to no more than 50% occupancy, which includes no more than 50 spectators in total, regardless of team affiliation, if held indoors. Number of participants is limited to no more than 50 people with no more than 50 spectators if held outdoors. So that's kind of either way. All athletes must wear face masks when not actively participating. So if you're like me and you're riding the bench, you have to wear a face mask. And also if you are an instructor, an employee, or parent, you must wear face masks of all time. Shawn, I want to bring you in for this perspective on this real quick, because you are a parent of many athletes. You said your children have played soccer. You've also been a coach for soccer. You've been a wrestling official and everything. Kind of like your thoughts on somewhat of resuming active sports competition.
Yeah, when you look at the direction from the Department of Public Health, it's a saving grace for girls soccer, obviously, because it was considered the most medium contact sport of the ones that were out there. So I think it also opened the door for basketball as well. There was some legitimate arguments from the IAAG relative to paddling, because you're so close to people, and you definitely can't distance in a canoe.
Right.
But in terms of allowing it to happen, it's a huge deal, because it is showing a little bit more confidence that that they're taking the controls, that they're implementing their controls. You've seen a lot of cameras at all these events, so it's a big deal for interscholastic sports. It really is.
Mm-hmm. As a sports parent and everything, how confident are you in, your son plays soccer right now for Notre Dame and everything. Like, have you any trepidation on, when you go out there and either take an active part in coaching or just watching as a concerned dad?
No, I'm very confident. I mean, my kids have got their first shots of the vaccination. So my senior daughter, who plays for Notre Dame, I mean, obviously, when you think of the legacy that the Royals have on the soccer pitch, that they're now able to actually get out there and defend their championship from 2 years ago. It's kind of exciting as a fan of Royal soccer. For my son, it's obviously the same thing. I don't worry as much because I already know that they're implementing fairly heavy restrictions. They've even, Jason and Chris, they've even limited the amount of kids on the team, so that they're now, it used to be large squads, but now they're much smaller, that they're putting together to minimize risk. So there was a concerted effort, at least in terms of some of these teams, to make smaller rosters, to make these things a little bit safer for the kids to get back to some kind of normal relative to interscholastic sports.
What's up with wrestling, Shawn? When would that normally be now?
Actually, wrestling is normally right after, in second quarter, right after the football season.
Okay.
So, they were a casualty, obviously, early on.
Yeah.
But much of that I was reading from the National Federation of Sports Officials. That's like our high school sports. It's like the governing body of high school sports in America.
Yeah.
They have all these provisions that allow them to do these certain things at matches, at games. But the contact sports, they've already gone through state championships already across the country already.
Mm-hmm.
So, and some of them are in places where COVID is really, really, moving really crazy.
Right.
So we just have to get the confidence that as we're returning to school, that there should make sense to have some kind of confidence to return to play.
Well, you brought up a point when we were talking offline about, obviously, like you said, wrestling is a casualty, but given that people are rolling around doing jiu-jitsu, right, it kind of seems like wrestling would be okay if it was the time.
Yeah. No, it makes sense, Chris. I mean, if you can do any of these combat sports, what makes me think that we can't do high school wrestling, at least in an abbreviated year? It's interesting, guys, because the feeder for the current Olympic program, which, by the way, got its first qualifying on merit, is the high school wrestling mat, as is the World Cup qualifiers. The feeder is the high school girls and boys soccer teams and events. I mean, we don't have to look far, even for basketball, who's on their way to qualify for the World Championships. They have to go, and they're using guys who are using high school sports as that platform. So, I mean, I've been really critical of both the ESA Sports League and IAAG, but they're overthinking, kind of like there's other places that can show you the way,
Right.
present those to public health, and let's get them back on the field in some way, shape, or form.
Do you think
crying out loud.
that is maybe part of it? Because it does seem a little strenuous, and I can see why, the relationship between the IAAG, ISA, and the administration. Do you think that these bodies, and I know we had John Fernandez on, and he said that, yeah, they're working with Lieutenant Governor, but do you think these bodies understand that pleading their case like that, I mean, it is what it is, that you would even have to plead the case, but that it would involve, hey, they're doing it over here, here's how they did it, maybe come up with a localized plan? Because sometimes we hear from public health that these, and not just with the sports people, but with the businesses, they're really like raising the alarm, but not doing their part to submit the plans for public health to review.
Yeah, my take, Chris, is, and I said this on my podcast, and thanks for plugging it again, but the idea is that you have to get in the room with the administration. They got to get into the room with public health. And they just can't like do it one time and say, okay, I'll check you in by 5 weeks. That's absolutely insanity. If you want to play, if you want to represent the kids of Guam better, then you got to get your butts into a room and talk it out and make sure that you execute your plan. And then it's not just submitting the plan, right? It's about, okay, every week I'll give you an update. Can we regroup? Also, I mentioned we should probably get even the physicians advisory group involved somehow too. Yeah. If you want to return to play, return to school, return to work, like Dr. Nguyen has been an absolute proponent of getting guys back to work and getting these restaurants open, why can't you do the same for interscholastic sports and other activities where the community can get back to normal somehow?
Shawn, let's talk about that podcast. So I know we had briefly just mentioned a few weeks back that we got some big things cooking with our KUAM podcast network, but you've got that's it, that's all, and it is there like a subject, Shawn, or is it just whatever's on your mind?
That's a great question. I actually like this one I did this week. It's on the Jones Act. And the person who, and I'll just tell him now because he's sleeping. I don't think he's ready for school yet. But my son actually said, Dad, can you do a podcast on the Jones Act? So I'm not sure if this has to do anything with Notre Dame and their education thing, but I mean, it's just ideas that come up, and and looking at different issues of the day. So I've had, everything from talking about COVID, high school sports, Cookiegate that we talked about at length on this program about.
Right.
But it just, kind of depends. And, we spend time looking at the issues and then trying to find a way to talk about it in a different way than we would get from, say, they can listen to you guys and get plenty of insight. They can read the newspapers, they can read other places, but I try to offer a different perspective on the issues and just bringing back my journalism background and, of course, government service to the fold. Also, my college students, Chris, over at UOG, they are. I know they're listening because they give me ideas too. Right
on. Well, there you go. It's a grown-up podcast, guys. It's great news content. Actually, like you said, he talks about issues of the day, and if there's anything that I support a lot, it's talking about the issues of the day. Shawn, thanks for popping in.
And real quick, I just wanted to add,
Hey,
as Shawn was alluding to at least two of his kids currently playing for ND, as our Dave Delgado reported, ND this year seeking its 5th straight girls soccer championship, which is insane. Also, of course, we said the other day, GW, of course, won the girls volleyball indoor championship. That is head coach Bobby Canacha's 13th overall championship for the Purple and Gold.
Okay, Jay, let me go backwards. So for the last 20 years, Notre Dame has won 10 championships, have been involved in most, if not all, of the last 20 years, with the exception of 2, where they were not in the finals of high school girls soccer, where they had 2 third places in that 20-year time span.
Okay, well, what is a level above Dynasty? When you know everybody says Dynasty is like the ultimate peak.
Well,
That's
you could say they're royalty.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Go Royals.
Right on. Thanks, Shawn. Hey, where do
Thanks,
they get?
guys. Have a great show.
I know we're going to be carrying your podcast down the road, but where do they get it now?
You can get it on any place that you can listen to podcasts. So Google Podcasts. It's on Spotify, Pandora. It's on iHeartRadio. It's on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher. If I didn't say that already. So just if wherever you listen to your podcast, check it out. Just search either That's It, That's All, or Shawn Gumataotao.
Right on.
Yeah, we're gonna throw it in the comments too, so people can subscribe right now and check out some of your really cool content, Shawn.
I hope so. Thanks, guys, for pushing it out, and thanks again for the support. But by the way, I do listen to the show. So when I listen and there's some things I can add, I add it right to the podcast.
Right, and I see that on your Twitter, Shawn. Keep your phone handy because Sabrina's on leave for the next couple weeks. So
if you guys need me, you guys know where to find me.
might need you to come in and do news.
Oh no, hey, Jason's doing a good job.
He's
man.
doing it. He's all right. He's all right. He's all right. There you go, Shawn Gumataotao. Guys, we're gonna take a break. 7:25. Dr. Hoa Wen coming up here with the physician's advice.